Rivian R2 deliveries are officially rolling out now, and that alone feels like a genuinely exciting milestone worth celebrating today. Still, nothing about this rollout is completely bug-free, and early owners are already noticing that reality quickly. Reddit has become the unofficial gathering spot where frustrated new owners go to vent their complaints. A lot of them are reporting powertrain issues almost immediately after leaving the delivery center itself. Honestly, that's somewhat expected given this is a brand new vehicle platform entirely. Hopefully Rivian irons out these early bugs quickly as more vehicles reach actual customers nationwide. But there's a bigger question circulating heavily among reservation holders right now, and it deserves real attention. Should you wait, or should you take delivery of your R2 immediately without hesitation? Rivian has publicly confirmed that early next year they'll integrate LiDAR sensors into upcoming vehicles. Alongside that, they're adding their own custom-designed silicon chip built specifically for autonomous driving tasks. We're already nearing the end of July, which means we're talking roughly 6 or 7 months out. That timeline could easily slip further, and history suggests these announcements often take longer than promised. We're already nearing the end of July, which means we're talking roughly 6 or 7 months out. That timeline could easily slip further, and history suggests these announcements often take longer than promised. On top of that, you currently can't even access a regular R2 premium trim yet. Only launch edition and performance package vehicles are shipping right now, leaving standard buyers waiting patiently still. There are real financial reasons to consider waiting, especially with potential savings down the road ahead. That's particularly true if Rivian actually follows through on their promised $45,000 standard range model. Beyond pricing, there also seem to be meaningful autonomy perks tied specifically to waiting a bit longer. Honestly, this entire conversation feels like déjà vu if you've followed the EV space closely. A nearly identical debate happened when Tesla's Hardware 4 started rolling out to new buyers. Back then, people constantly asked whether they should wait for Hardware 4 or buy Hardware 3 immediately. I personally own 2 Hardware 3 Teslas, so I've lived through this exact dilemma firsthand already. The biggest lesson from that entire experience is that companies routinely overestimate their own hardware's true capability. That pattern is now playing out again on our Model Y, which recently received version 14 Lite. Thankfully, we never purchased full self-driving outright, unlike many other owners who committed financially back then. They bought in specifically when Hardware 3 was the only option Tesla offered at the time. Sadly, many believed Elon's 2019 claims that Hardware 3 could handle true coast-to-coast autonomous summon capability. The promise was that the car could essentially drive itself anywhere without meaningful human intervention required. Now, years later, it's become clear that additional hardware like camera sprayers is genuinely necessary. We know this because Tesla has incorporated exactly that hardware into their upcoming Cybercab robotaxi design. I've already explained elsewhere why I think that promise is unrealistic and likely won't ever happen. There's a fair chance version 14 Lite ends up being the final major FSD update ever. It's also worth mentioning that even after Tesla rolled out Hardware 4, cars still lacked extras. Bumper cameras and camera sprayers, standard on their actual robotaxi fleet, weren't included on customer vehicles. I'm already noticing situations where that missing hardware clearly impacts real-world software performance and reliability. Detecting speed bumps accurately. Even though I genuinely love Rivian, I hope they avoid repeating many of Tesla's biggest mistakes. Unfortunately, Rivian doesn't have a flawless track record either when it comes to overestimating their own hardware. You can actually verify this yourself using the Wayback Machine to pull up old website screenshots. Before Rivian had even delivered a single R1T, they were advertising Level 3 autonomous driving capability. For context, Level 3 technically means the driver doesn't need to actively pay attention anymore. You're still required to sit in the driver's seat, ready to take control if needed suddenly. But Rivian's early messaging strongly implied hands-free, eyes-free autonomy was coming soon to their vehicles. In reality, what those early vehicles offered was a basic driver assist system with simple lane keeping. That's a far cry from genuine point-to-point autonomous transport that requires zero driver attention whatsoever. Now Rivian claims their Gen 2 vehicles, including current R2 models, already have necessary hardware installed. They're saying point-to-point capability will arrive by the end of this calendar year for owners. Rivian describes this as hands-off autonomous driving, though it still requires driver attention and readiness overall. Achieving true eyes-off autonomy, meaning actual Level 3 or potentially Level 4, requires additional hardware entirely. That means waiting specifically for their custom silicon chip combined with the newly added LiDAR sensor. I personally watched Rivian's Autonomy Day presentation closely, along with every demo they showcased publicly there. Frankly, those demonstrations weren't particularly impressive or convincing, given the ambitious timeline they've publicly committed to. I want to extend some benefit of the doubt here. Since this technology is genuinely still early, hopefully progress is happening exponentially behind the scenes, even if public demos haven't fully reflected that yet. Ideally, they'll eventually roll out something comparable to FSD, where you input a destination and go. But given both Rivian's and Tesla's historical track records, I remain skeptical about hitting these ambitious deadlines. It's genuinely my personal belief that Rivian won't meet the autonomy timeline they've publicly laid out. That said, I still love them deeply as a company building genuinely exciting and capable vehicles. Rivian vehicles remain fantastic adventure machines, regardless of how their self-driving ambitions ultimately play out long-term. They ride comfortably, handle off-road terrain impressively, and remain genuinely fun and engaging to drive daily. Still, I have much bigger questions surrounding what LiDAR actually unlocks in practical real-world driving situations. A lot of people hold an oversimplified view that LiDAR is inherently good because it provides more data. Even though I'm already skeptical of Tesla's full self-driving marketing claims overall, my LiDAR skepticism runs deeper. I personally don't believe current Teslas being delivered will ever achieve genuine Level 4 autonomous capability. Beyond that, I'm also not convinced LiDAR itself fundamentally changes the underlying self-driving equation. But I don't see it as the ultimate solution people often make it out to be. If the LiDAR sensor becomes obstructed somehow, cameras still need to independently understand what's happening around them. LiDAR fundamentally can't read road signs, and it doesn't understand painted road markings on pavement either. Thinking back on my own FSD interventions, there are rarely situations where LiDAR would have meaningfully changed the outcome. It's almost never a case of the car nearly hitting something LiDAR could have detected earlier instead. Keep in mind, Rivian's current LiDAR implementation only covers the front-facing direction of the vehicle currently. Compare that to Waymo vehicles, which incorporate LiDAR sensors positioned completely around the entire vehicle exterior. Even Tesla's own validation vehicles, sometimes jokingly called hypocrisy mobiles, include LiDAR mounted on all sides. That's somewhat ironic, given Tesla has publicly insisted for years that LiDAR simply isn't necessary technology. These validation vehicles help calibrate cameras and provide crucial ground-truthing data on a region-by-region basis. That approach somewhat contradicts the confident public narrative Tesla has repeatedly pushed regarding camera-only self-driving systems. In my own personal driving experience, it's actually visibility at stop signs that aren't part of a standard four-way intersection setup. You often need to look far down the road to check whether another vehicle is approaching. Self-driving systems generally perform well in cities with predictable stoplights and standard four-way stop intersections. But once you head onto back roads or approach a blind corner, things get noticeably trickier. In my experience, I can often spot an approaching car before the vehicle's own cameras can. The bigger recurring problem tends to be navigation and visibility around corners rather than direct obstacles. I don't see current camera positioning on Rivian vehicles adequately solving that specific visibility challenge yet. Radar sensors, meanwhile, do prove genuinely helpful for tighter parking lot maneuvering and low-speed situations. At the end of the day, real progress likely requires an extremely capable central computing system overall. That's precisely why it makes strategic sense for Rivian to develop their own custom silicon chip. I genuinely believe that custom chip will meaningfully improve performance compared to current generation hardware available today. With my early experience running version 14 Lite, most interventions happen within the first 2%. The same pattern holds true for roughly the final 2% of any given drive as well. Everything happening in between those 2 points tends to perform surprisingly well and reliably overall. The car generally stays within its lane and slows appropriately for vehicles ahead on the road. It also handles winding roads reasonably well, maintaining smooth control through curves and elevation changes consistently. That kind of nuanced, personalized behavior is genuinely difficult to program or code into any system. So regarding LiDAR specifically on the R2, I believe the chip matters far more ultimately. If you're not in a rush and your current vehicle still runs perfectly fine, waiting seems reasonable. I'd guess that custom chip, even without unlocking full level 4 autonomy, will still improve things dramatically. Within a couple years, it'll likely outperform current Gen 2 hardware by a significant, noticeable margin. That's honestly something manufacturers like Tesla, Rivian, and Lucid won't openly admit to potential customers. They simply want you purchasing a vehicle right now, not delaying your decision for future hardware. Acknowledging that future hardware will be dramatically better would obviously hurt their current sales numbers significantly. But from first-hand experience, there's a massive capability gap between AI4 Teslas and Hardware 3 Teslas. I fully expect that same meaningful gap to eventually appear within Rivian's own vehicle lineup too. So here's the real question worth sitting with. Is waiting for LiDAR truly worth it? How important is genuine self-driving capability to your personal buying decision when considering an R2 purchase? Is it worth delaying delivery for months just to get incrementally closer to hands-off autonomy? There's no universally correct answer here, since it genuinely depends on your personal priorities and patience level. Some buyers care deeply about cutting-edge autonomy features and will happily wait however long it takes. Others simply want a capable, fun adventure vehicle today and don't prioritize future software promises heavily. Both perspectives are completely valid, especially given how uncertain these autonomous driving timelines have historically proven. What matters most is understanding exactly what you're trading away by choosing to wait longer. You're trading immediate ownership and enjoyment for a chip and sensor combination with genuinely uncertain timing. Meanwhile, current R2 owners are already enjoying adventure-ready capability, comfortable rides, and genuinely engaging daily driving dynamics. Neither choice is inherently wrong, but going in with realistic expectations will serve you well. Don't expect eyes-off autonomy to magically appear exactly on schedule, based on both companies' historical patterns. Instead, focus on whether the vehicle itself, right now, meets your everyday driving needs sufficiently. If the answer is yes, there's a strong case for simply enjoying your R2 immediately. If autonomy genuinely drives your decision above everything else, then waiting patiently might make more practical sense. Either way, staying informed about these hardware timelines will help you make a genuinely confident decision.